Your 9 to 5 isn't taking your time, it's taking your life. At least that's what it started feeling like to me. And before you click away because you think that's another video telling everyone to quit their job, that's not what it is. There are people who genuinely love what they do. Teachers, doctors, engineers, artists, builders. People whose work gives them meaning. I admire those people. This isn't a video about work. It's a video about something much more personal. It's about the day I realized I had stopped questioning how I was spending the best hours of my life. Every morning basically, or night if you're a cabin crew, looked almost exactly the same. Wake up, get ready, go to work, come back home, eat something, watch a bit of TV, go to sleep, and then they wake up and do it all again. Nothing dramatic was happening, and that's what made it dangerous. Life wasn't falling apart, it was simply passing by. One day became 1 week became 1 month, and before I knew it, almost 3 years had gone by. If someone had asked me back then whether I was happy, I honestly don't know what I would have answered, because I wasn't miserable, I wasn't suffering, I wasn't crying myself to sleep. I was just comfortable. Stay 1 more year, you have a stable income, you will figure yourself out later. Don't risk what you already have. And without realizing it, you slowly stop asking yourself the most important question. Why am I living this way? After all, I became a cabin crew in what once was a premium Middle Eastern airline. I visited over 50 countries. From the outside, my life looked exciting. People constantly told me how lucky I was. You get paid to travel, you have a dream job. I wish I had your life. And honestly, for a while, I believed them because that's what success looked like. Security, a decent salary, free accommodation, travel benefits, everything that I had once wanted. But there was something I couldn't explain. The more stable my life became, or the longer I stayed in this job, the less alive I felt. It made no sense. How could someone be unhappy while living the life they once dreamed about? For a long time, I thought something was wrong with me. Maybe I wasn't grateful enough. Maybe I always wanted more. Maybe I simply couldn't appreciate what I had. So instead of questioning my decision, I questioned myself. I kept thinking, if I just travel a little bit more, if I earn a little bit more, eventually I will feel complete. But that moment never came, because no matter where I flew, I always took myself with me. The destination changed, the feeling didn't. Looking back now, I don't think I was searching for happiness. I think I was searching for ownership. Ownership over my own attention, over my own life. And then one day a thought appeared that I couldn't get rid of. It wasn't some huge life-changing revelation, it was just one simple question. If someone looked at my calendar, would they understand what I truly valued? Or would they simply see where I was spending my time? That question haunted me because our calendars don't reflect our intentions. They reflect our priorities. It's easy to say, my family is the most important thing, my mental health matters, my dreams and passions matter. But if your calendar tells a completely different story, which one is true, your words or your time? That's when I started looking at my life differently. I stopped measuring it in years. I stopped measuring it in hours. Because life isn't really made of years. It's made of ordinary Tuesday mornings, Monday afternoons, quiet evenings, conversations, walks, coffee breaks, sunsets. Those little moments we barely notice. And suddenly I realized something that made me deeply uncomfortable. Every day I was giving the best hours of my life to something that no longer helped me become the person I wanted to be. And we have to notice something. I'm not saying the job was bad, because it wasn't. I'm not saying the company was bad. It wasn't. The people I worked with, many of them were cool. This isn't about blaming work. It's about realizing that something which once served me no longer did. There is a huge difference, because sometimes we stay loyal to a version of ourselves that no longer exists. The person who accepted that job wasn't the same person sitting there almost 3 years later. People change, dreams change, priorities change. But sometimes our routines don't, and that's where I think many of us silently get stuck. Not because we're weak, not because we're lazy, but because changing direction feels irresponsible. Especially when everyone around you tells you how lucky you already are. That's when I ask myself another question, one that honestly scared me. If nothing changes, what will my life look like in 10 years? And that question scared me because I already knew the answer. It would look successful, stable, responsible, acceptable, maybe even impressive from the outside. But the inside, I think I would have felt even further away from myself. I would be gone, brother, and that's when I realized something. The greatest tragedy isn't spending 8, 10, 12 hours at work. The greatest tragedy is waking up 20 years later and realizing those 8 hours quietly became your life. Because time doesn't disappear all at once. It lives quietly, one shift, one routine, 1 month, 1 year, one postponed dream at a time. And the dangerous part is you can be doing everything right while slowly abandoning the life that was meant for you. You can pay your bills, you can have a respectable job, be reliable, make your family proud, and still feel like something inside you is slowly falling asleep. That was the feeling I couldn't ignore anymore. Not sadness, not laziness, not lack of gratitude, just this quiet voice asking, is this really it? And I think many people hear that voice, they're just silence it very quickly. Because listening to it is uncomfortable. It might ask you to change something, it might ask you to disappoint someone and to admit that the life you've spent years building is not the one you actually want to keep living. And that is terrifying, so we distract ourselves. We say, at least I have a job, at least I have stability, it's not so bad. But I started wondering, when did not that bad becomes the standard for my life? When did surviving become enough? When did I stop expecting to feel alive? I don't want to romanticize struggle. I don't want to pretend uncertainty is easy. Since leaving my job, I have felt fear, a lot of it. There are days when I question pretty much everything, and there are moments when I miss certainty. Well, the salary, the accommodation provided, the structure. But even with all that fear, something changed. For the first time in a long time, my life feels like it's mine again. And that feeling, it's hard to explain to someone who only sees the risk. Because from the outside, living stability can look irresponsible. But from the inside, staying can sometimes feel like slowly disappearing. And that's what people don't always understand. Sometimes the biggest risk isn't living, but staying in a life that keeps asking you to become smaller than what you already are. A life where your energy goes somewhere you don't believe in. When your dreams are always waiting for later. When your best hours are spent maintaining a version of yourself you no longer recognize. And I don't think we're meant to live like machines. Wake up, work, consume, sleep, repeat, again and again, until years pass and we wonder where they went. I think we're meant to create, to explore, to build, to think, to feel, to contribute. And yes, work can absolutely be part of that. Meaningful work can be beautiful, discipline can be beautiful, but only when they serve a life you consciously choose, not when they become a cage you decorate and call success. That was the difference I had to understand. My problem was never work itself. My problem was that I had given so much of my life to a path I no longer believed in. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. I started asking myself, what am I actually working toward? Is this job helping me become who I want to be? Is this routine bringing me any closer to a life that feels honest to me? Or am I just trading today for the hope of one day I will finally feel free? Because that word, one day, can quietly steal your entire life. One day I will build something of my own. One day I will finally listen to myself. but that one day is not a plan. It's often just fear wearing the costume of patience. And I had been patient for a long time, not with the word, with myself. I kept waiting for permission, for certainty, for the perfect plan, for everyone to understand, for fear to disappear, but fear didn't disappear. I just reached the point where staying the same became more painful than changing. So no, this video isn't about telling you to quit your job. It's not telling you that 9 to 5 is wrong. It's not telling you to run away from responsibility. It's asking something much more personal. Who owns the best hours of your life? And are you okay with the answer? Because money can always be earned again. Skills can be learned, careers can change, new opportunities can appear. But time is the only currency you never get refunded. And once we understand that, everything starts to look different. Your calendar, your habits, your excuses, your dreams. You stop asking only, how much does this pay? And you start asking, what is this costing me? Not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually. What is it costing the version of you that still wants to feel alive? For me, the cost became too high. Not because the job was terrible, but because my life had started to feel like something I was postponing. And I don't want to postpone it anymore. I don't want to spend my best years waiting for a safer moment to become myself and reach my full potential. I don't want to arrive at the end of my life with the perfect record of responsibility, but no memory of ever truly listening to my soul. Maybe that sounds dramatic, maybe it is, but I think some things should feel dramatic. Your time on this planet should feel important. Your dreams should feel important. Your inner voice should feel important, because if you keep ignoring it, eventually it gets quieter, and one day you may not even remember what it was trying to tell you.